Hello, I'm Joe Curtis with the Concordia Sentinel. I'm here today with Mayor Buzz Craft with Vidalia. Mayor Craft, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Joe. You don't have to call me Mayor Craft. You can call me Buzz,
Sounds
or you can call me Mr. Buzz. That's what the kids call me. So it's just whichever you're comfortable with. I'm fine with it.
That's fine. Buzz, I wanted to ask you a few questions today about your goals, your short-term and long-term, and also some projects that's going on. That okay?
Sure, that's great.
All right. Well, let's start.
Go.
That sounds good. Let's start on a project that is actually reached regionally. I have people as far north as Mangum to ask me about the Polk Park.
Okay.
And they're excited up there because they want to come when it's finished and take part in it too. I know Vidalia is excited and all of Concordia is excited. So tell me how Polk Park is progressing.
It's coming along great. Of course, we have a little bit of weather now with the rains and some colder weather set in. But look, these guys have been working hard with the playground, putting the pieces together. But Polk Park is going to be, my understanding is, and I've been told this several times, it's going to be the largest playground in Louisiana.
Wow.
And I don't think that's counting the splash pad that's going to be adjacent to it, right there beside it. But it is really, this phase of Polk Park is going to be something that's going to be really special for our state even. I mean, I look for buses to pull up out there and people want to bring kids on field trips and do things. It's really going to be something that everyone can enjoy. There's something for everybody. Mm-hmm. It's an all-inclusive playground. Handicapped children can come there. Families can bring them, and now all their kids, whether they're handicapped or not or special needs, will be able to have something there for them to do. And I think that's important. Now, a lot of people, this, I feel bad it's taken this long, but it's been a process. One of our older women back in my first term set aside $150,000 for a playground. And that was great to do that, but I just wasn't happy with putting something small just to have a slide or something. And plus the location of it was critical. You know, I thought about putting it down if the school board would go into cooperative endeavor agreement with them to put it on the elementary school unused portion of their property. I really couldn't ever get traction there with anybody or support to put something there, something substantial. And one day I just was going through just trying to, I've been looked through 1 million catalogs for playgrounds. And, you know, I've actually given a lot of these catalogs to staff who have children and let them look through it and see, hey, what do you like and what do you don't like, you know, and because, and especially colors and things of that nature, I like for somebody else to do all that. Sure. But I was on there and there was a particular playground, the pieces that I kind of liked and the color of them. Mm-hmm. And I pulled up that company and there was a park called Perney Park. It's in Nebraska. And I pulled it up and had a video on it and it almost made me cry. I said, that's it. I'm going like, that's the one. That's the one we're getting. I don't want a deviation from it. I don't want anything different. That's the one I want. If somebody can't put that out there, I'm not right. So not signing the check to pay for it. So, and that grew legs. And so we gave it to, the engineers to start working on. And it's just been a wonderful thing that's coming to fruition. And then couple that with the splash pad, right? Walking trails are going to be through there. Our fitness court. You know, the fitness court is constructed now. We've got it kind of fenced off because we want to do a grand opening on all of that. Sure. But that phase is going to have the playground, the splash pad, the expansion of our pond. So many people, and improving our pier. So many people come and fish out of that pond. It's crazy. So that's on that phase. And once all that's done, it's going to be plenty of parking, plenty of trails going through there, well lit. It's going to be a special place here. And that's the phase that's going now, but there's another phase we just approved. We can talk about that too in a minute if you want to, but yeah, Polk Park's going to be really special, going to be a happening place. And I'll go ahead and put this out there. We're going to have someone around, and and my vision is, that we will have someone. I'd like to maybe have part-time people actually run this thing or be available to help, you know, keep things picked up. kind of monitor things, make sure we don't have kids who are acting up or dropped off without any supervision. We want to make sure that it's a safe place where families can come, have birthday parties, or bring kids and just play, and it's be a special place.
Buzz, you talked about the park catering to special needs people. Vidalia is known throughout the state for their recreation complex, their sports complex. And I know that recently the town council approved some money for a special needs ballpark. Could you elaborate on that, please?
I can, and I'll be glad to tell you the other things that's coming on this phase. A lot of it's going to happen this year.
Okay.
That it's pretty cool. And it's going to happen pretty quick. But yes, a special needs where people can come, and it's the Miracle League. Like, there's different leagues. One's called Miracle League. There's another. Don't know what it is, but it's basically a turf field where where children in wheelchairs or special needs can be pushed. I think the biggest question right now is what field are we going to put that on? And right now, I think the last conversations, but we got to talk with the rec board to work with them on this, which is going to require a cooperative endeavor with them to, hey, where are we going to put this court? I mean, this field, and maybe put it on the infield of the big park. It'll be AstroTurf, so it will double. It will take two things.
Very good.
They'll just have to schedule games different than the high schools and the bigger games, but you'll have that turf field, which, your high school games might not be rained out because they got a turf field.
Okay.
So that'd be a big plus there. So that'd be very important. The other thing we're going to have probably, and this is going to be happening within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to have 8 pickleball courts on the back right quadrant of our tennis courts out here, and that's going to be something that's really, really special and nice. And we're going to be doing new overlays on those. I'm going to be asking the council tonight to maybe divert some monies that we had in the hydros that we had approved for some projects that we can't do now, to maybe do, and also refinish the basketball courts that we've got, plus the tennis courts.
Right.
And that's going to be ongoing. And also the things that I think last thing that we approved was and I'm really excited about this too, almost as much as the ballpark, is a farmer's market.
Right.
And this is going to be a farmer's market. It's going to be around a 14,000 square foot building, which will be, it'll be located out there right across the street from the community garden, which would be right adjacent to the pond. And people will be able to pull in, and our back end, it'll be an open building. It'll have offices and restrooms, but vehicles can back in, across from each other, and you can see people walking between there, whether it's arts and crafts or vegetables, fruits and vegetables, or anything other than, we're not going to take garage sale items, but somebody that might have a product they want to sell and do that. And I'd like to see them do it on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and really be a hub out here for people to come and do things.
That's great. Is Polk Park and the farmers market, is this kind of we all talk about improving the quality of life in Vidalia and also wherever you live. Is this do you feel like this is a kind of a big step into improving the quality of life?
Absolutely. We're putting a lot of investment into it. We're doing it. We're not asking for any help. We're doing it with hydro money, which a lot of this stuff wouldn't be possible without the hydro money.
Sure.
And the work that Sidney Murray and the vision he had back when the hydro plant was put into existence. I honestly don't even know if Sidney understood the impact of what he was doing then, what it was going to be at this point. Right. And it maybe he did, but to have that kind of, forethought to do this deal, I don't see how someone in today's environment could pull that off. I just politically, financially, I don't see how somebody could pull it off. I really don't. But here I am. Fast forward, I'm getting to enjoy the fruits.
Sure. And
I want to make sure that we're good stewards of that monies, and give things that the people can say, hey, we have a great quality of life here in Vidalia, Louisiana, because we do.
Right.
And if you don't believe me, just drive around Louisiana a little bit and talk to some of the mayors that I'm friends with and work with and serve on many boards with. And we're really blessed.
Right. You're talking about the hydro money now, and do you feel like the town is going to aggressively invest back into the town with the hydro money in the next few years, or what, how do you feel that's going to go?
And Joe, that's a great question, because a lot of people just don't understand the magnitude of what the next few years are going to mean and decisions, me or whoever's going to be mayor. And I am going to put this out there now. I have 2.5 years left, and then my term will end in 2028. Well, in 2030, we've got to make a decision on what's going to be done with the hydro plant. And my goal is to run for one more term after this, at least, to make sure that we get this done. It's going to be one of the most important elections for Mayor of Vidalia that we've had in probably many, many terms. And I feel like that I have a vision of what I want that to be like. But and that would be what is going to be best for all the people of Vidalia.
Right.
And that's very, very important to me. So as far as the hydro itself, right now, the monies we're getting off of it, by ordinance, we can refund up to 50% of all the residents or retail customers' utility bill.
Okay.
And we've been doing that since we've been able to, by ordinance. We've been doing that. And in the years that I've been in office, we've rebated over 16-17 million dollars. And that means a lot to citizens at this time of year when we try to make sure they get it. So but we got money, we got investments and savings, because what if you bought the hydro? What if that was the decision you did make to buy the hydro? You got to have money to operate it. And if you don't have money ready to go to operate that, then you can't buy it. So we're also in saving and investing money, so when that time comes, we'll be able, if we decide to buy it, we will have the money to operate it.
Good.
Because you don't want to start borrowing money to run something that might not, because just because the hydro's there, you have low water conditions, you still have mechanical things working underwater that do break sometimes. And you have salaries, you have all kind of issues and expenses with it that you got to have money to start with on that. And so that's why I'm saying we have to be smart in how we go forward with this and make sure we make the best decisions on going. And I want to put together, we've already enlisted an attorney's firm, Zelma Murray, who is a granddaughter of Sidney A. Murray. Really? Is working at that firm, and I promise you she has the best interest for the Sidney Murray and hydro plant in mind, and the firm she works for is working with us, as well as some other people in the utility realm of Louisiana that I feel very trustworthy with. I mean, I have a lot of good friendship with that I trust, that will help advise us and work together on coming to what we want to make this look like, as well as working with the current, co-owners. Okay. We want what's best for the town and everybody involved. We want it to be a win-win. I like win-wins. I don't want to lose win. I want to win-win. So
let's switch gears for a second. Vidalia has, again, aggressively had a street improvement project the last year. Where's that at? Has all the streets been paved now? Or?
Nearly all of them have, Joe, but not all of them. We have some side streets. We also have some main streets that have done. I can tell you what's on my list. There's some streets in District 1, some side streets that we need to look at. Cross Street, and portions of Concordia Avenue, Concordia Extension. Everything is on the that's not been paved. We're looking at. There's going to be a time frame for that.
Okay.
But no, I'm very excited that we've done the work that we've done in that, and again, Vidalia is growing, and I think right now there's probably 5 restaurants that's in the process of opening up.
Wow.
And some degree, there's some degree of being talked about or being open right now, and that's 5. And
new ones.
5, yes, new ones. That'd be so, or some will be in buildings that's already existing, but a couple of them could be new. And there's also a pretty large retail business that's going to be opening in the city limits that I can't talk about yet, but I mean, some people might know what it is. But it's going to be a very good tax base. It's going to help the town a lot. So there's a lot of things moving. But you've got good streets to drive on.
Right.
Our citizens, our kids to go to school in, play. I mean, we don't want to play too much in the streets, but
Right. Of course.
we want to make sure that we give plenty of places for them to play and do
Right.
things.
As far as the future, you talk about that. How much can Vidalia grow? As far as can it keep on growing, or are you going to have to?
If you look at Vidalia about with a satellite image, you're going to go like we're surrounded by water.
Yes.
And it necks down around around Faraday and also here. We're in a bowl almost.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the bowl's almost closed. So, there's some expansion we can do. We have to be careful of what we want to do.
Okay.
Because you'll be dealing with the parish. We don't want to hurt the parish.
Sure.
But we also want to look out for what's best for the town.
Okay.
And providing good services for whoever's within our umbrella or any of our utilities services.
Okay.
We want to give them the best,
Right.
Whether it's sanitation or whatever it might be.
Well, we talked about the Polk Park project, which is a huge project. Let's talk about another large project, which is the cutting down or at least trimming dead trees. I know this is a statewide problem. But Vidalia has taken a really proactive approach to it. Tell me a little bit about what you guys have done and where you guys are at in the project.
Yeah, and look, that is something that's really means a lot to me. The Louisiana Municipal Association wanted me to be their designee for the state to work on this problem, and also to work with the Forestry Commission and any other commissions, the Arborist Commission with the state. And I've come up with a plan that I hope that they will model after what we did, because you can't go on private property and cut trees. It's really against the law and it violates all your ethics. However, I told them let's go into an angle of public safety. This is a public safety issue. Some people can't afford to cut the trees they've got in their yard that are dead, that through no fault of their own. And it was a problem caused by two things. Your drought that we had for 2 years, and the beetles, when it weakened the trees, the beetles were able to take over the tree and basically kill them. Your healthier trees, which, that survived, those healthy trees, the bugs couldn't get in them. So the ones you see dead are the ones that were most affected by the drought, and bugs were able to get them and kill them. So we saw, and I said, look, I don't want this to happen on my watch where we can do something about it and we don't, because you've got all these, we have 165 dead pines that I just did by a windshield driving around town and counting them, that were a danger to the people, a public menace. They were within distance of falling on a public utility, a public street, sidewalk, or residence. And that's the ones we're going to take down, because, again, like I said, I'm glad the council approved it 100% to say, hey, look, we don't need this in our town. And so we took this, and honestly, we have, by the time we got through, there was nearly 200 on that list. Mm-hmm. And I believe our town is now safer. And I believe that we have any kind of issue somebody might have as far as ethics goes, I believe this by far would be a trump over, hey, you can't do that. Well, when somebody gets killed or died and we could have done something about it, yeah, this was the right thing to do.
Right. So let's talk about your goals. What's your number one goal for Vidalia this next coming year?
I think there's a couple more projects on my heart. These are something that these are things that I like to see us get done. And I don't think it'll happen within the next year or so, but maybe within the next 3 to 4. Okay. But one of those is I have a strong feeling for, I wanted that to be an all-inclusive playground. And I was thinking about what is something that could really attract a lot of families and people that might not normally come somewhere to a small community like ours. And we have a lot of special needs children in our area. And it's hard for me to talk about this because I get kind of emotional about it. But I think about the parents who have special needs kids that when they term out or can no longer go to the local school. What do they have to do with those kids? You know, these parents, they kind of lose their quality of life for being able to work because they have to stay home and take care of their kids. And that's fine that they do. I admire them for what they do. But what if we could partner or come do everything we can to find and put together a building? You know, we're fixing to spend several $1 million on this playground and this complex. What if we put some monies, not near about that much, into a small school for special needs kids, if they would have the teachers or the people that can take care of them until parents can work a job during the day, feed them, you know, give them activities, you know, it can be done. I know it can be done, and there's a lot of people in town that have that same feeling for special needs children and their families, because their families, you know, I know so many parents. One of my favorite people in the world is Brad Watson, the pastor for First Baptist Church, has a special needs child. And, you know, there's nobody you can't think of that's a close friend of yours that don't have a special needs child that needs help,
right,
and could use some help. And I think that's something we can do. That's one. And another is going to be, and this is one I probably shouldn't let the cat out of the bag, but I've already visited with the Lieutenant Governor, and I've been talking with some of his people on tourism, but it's putting a museum here in Vidalia, and make it, you know, a hydro museum. And I don't want to take away from Faraday, but I want, with all the visitors that we have, you know, Natchez says they have anywhere from 750,000 to 100,000 visitors come in a year. And, you know, they have the Frogmore Plantation to go to. But other than that, you know, in Concordia Parish, what can they do? So I thought a nice museum, a nice one, that would have, you know, our history for Concordia Parish. You'd have the hydro, Jerry Lee Lewis, Mickey Gilley, Jimmy Swaggart, and other musicians and artists and famous people who are from our area, where they could come in and have a nice museum with actual artifacts, you know, displays, history, interactive things that could go through an actual museum and be for this area. Because think about it, you've got 3 major throughways going east-west in Louisiana. You got I-10, I-20, and 84. So hey, give us something, you know, to give people traveling. And we would also, I want them to maybe use that as a tourist information center. It used to be at the convention center, but that's off the beaten path. People aren't going to get off the highway too much to go way off and, hey, let's go find that tourist information center, when they could stop right there on the highway and go in here. Not only that, hey, here's a museum, bathrooms, you know, things they can go in. And I think that's something I'd really love to see before 2030, if I could get that done.
So, Mayor, you've talked about visitors to Vidalia. So what about American Cruise Lines? Where are they at?
American Cruise Line, if you'll notice, they just finished construction on extending the boat ramp on the Vidalia side. They took it down to a mount, you know, because it gets so low there you can't put a boat. So they got the ramp at a length down the levee there, or down the embankment, to where they can use it, to where they can safely get in and out. But Charlie Robertson, he is a super phenomenal guy. I've become friends with him, who owns American Cruise Lines, and he's a sweetheart. I'm just going to tell you, I love Charlie, and they love Vidalia and Natchez.
Good.
And that's another reason we want to make sure we get plenty of things for them to do with the visitors that are going to be using that ramp, you know, when the water gets up just a little bit more.
Okay. So, Mayor, let's talk about your time as mayor. And you said you were going to run again. What has been some of your biggest challenges as mayor, looking back, your first 2 terms?
Social media. Social media is usually an issue. It can be a tool or it can be a problem.
Sure.
You know, I make fun a lot of times. I say this is where all the Facebook engineers go, and you can learn a lot of stuff about all the Facebook engineers that know everything. But no, and look, I understand it. I'm not going to make everybody happy. And one thing I've come to understand, Joe, the longer I do sit in office, the more opportunity to make somebody that really has supported you a chance to make them mad. You know, because there's somebody at some point not going to like something you did. And, you know, that's just something that it was really hard for me when I got elected that, you know, to really come to grasp, you really aren't going to make everybody happy, no matter what you do. And, you know, and one of the main guys who got me to run was Al Lader. And he always, and I remember, I'll never forget him saying this. He said, "You're not going to like everything that I do, but I can promise you, I'm not going to do something for myself and put a road or street or something on my property or something like that, you know." And I can promise people that I'm not going to benefit from anything. It's got to be for the citizens, or take an old Star Trek saying the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. But no, I would say social media, it would probably be, if I had to say, it's been the biggest issue, because so many people get on there and they can really hurt people, and I see it every day. And it needs to be something where people can share things, good things, instead of tearing people down. And it's so easy to do, and people have gotten to do that. And the thing about it is, what I don't like is the human nature that we've got into, even in our political realm. And I don't like to be political. I'm not a politician, even though I'm a mayor, been a mayor for 10 years. People say, "Yeah, you're a politician," but I don't like to think of it that way.
Right.
I tell people when I go somewhere, they say, "Oh, that's the mayor." I'm going like, I just have a job. I have a responsibility. I'm a public servant. It's not something that, look at me. That's not who I am. You know, I'm not out there wanting, any kind of praise or anything like that. I just want to do my job, go home, spend time with my family, and do that sort of thing.
Right. As a mayor, how do you want to be remembered as a mayor?
Oh goodness. I want to be remembered. I guess I need to do that because, if somebody did it right.
Right.
He did it right. And I care. I've always had our employees back, especially in public. That's not to say that we haven't had discussions in this room, in this office.
Sure.
Because there's still, even now that there's things that have to come up that's not always perfect. Mm. And I have to address it. Have I always been right? I haven't always been right. But here's my test. I look back, and I know some people are not going to believe this, but this is something I believe. I'm a Christian, and I believe God has put people in front of me who have been blessings and I couldn't have made that choice without his help. And I could name so many instances where that's happened, and it just works. The town works, and it's just, I trust in that. And so, is it my wisdom? Is it my understanding? Or is it ordained? Mm. And when those things happen, I do give thanks to God. Say, thank you, Lord, for sending that person, or sending this. And I could, every person that's come across. Now, that's not to say hadn't been an issue or two along the way. My people that I meet with in this office, I get people in here that I tell them, tell me what I don't want to hear. Tell me, I'm not going to hold it against you. It helped me because, listen, you might see this thing differently than I do, that is going to make a big difference or change me in my thinking, going like, you know what, you're right. I'm wrong about that. I shouldn't do that. And that's happened a lot. And those people, I tell them, carte blanche, you can say what you want to. If you're telling me, Buzz, I hate that tie, you need to quit wearing those clothes, you need to quit doing that, nothing's off the table. Gotcha. And I feel like that if someone is in my position, needs to have those people that they can trust and lean on. Just, hey, you need to kind of steer back in this lane a little bit.
Gotcha.
And I think that's key. But thinking back to how do I want to be remembered, it's just somebody who did it right and loved Vidalia, and thankful for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. When I thought about, running another term, and this last time I didn't have any opposition. That would be nice in 2008 if it happens again. But you know, if somebody comes up and they run and they get put in there, I'll just say, well, that's what God had intended. And you know what? I'll go home or be around to help anybody that can. I'll go fishing and go back to, you know, my business that I got and chasing grandkids.
There you go. I was going to say, as a man, how do you want to be remembered? Just a regular guy?
Just somebody that could be your friend, you know, that wants, even right now, there's people who don't like me. And, you know, for whatever reason, whether it was from past, you know, when I got in office, I had to let people go. That was hard. You know, people, I didn't want to be callous about it. I didn't want to be hateful about it, but it was a necessary thing. I hated doing it. There were people who, supported the previous mayor, and I respect that. But look, the election's over. Look, we're all on the same team now. I would love for those people to come. Look, Hiram and I have I think the world of Hiram. He and I talk, not all the time, but when we talk, we're cordial. I invite him to come in. He says that he'd love to come in and visit with me. I enjoy sitting down with him and us visiting and talking about, you know, what we've done, what we've got going on. And it means a lot to me to tell me, say, hey, look, you're doing a great job. And that means a lot to me, you know, and you would think that coming from, you know, because when you get in elections, people really do what they can to win. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't have sense enough to do anything other than try to, you know, look at what I thought I could do. Mm-hmm. But there's so many people now, and I won't mention names. They all know who they are. I would love for them to just walk through this door and sit down and say, hey, Mayor, let's bury the hatchet. Let's do what's best for our town. You know, and look, you know, because I promise you, I got nothing but I'll work with anybody. But just, I can't make them. You've heard, you know, people to do things, but all I can tell them is I'm here. I'll work with you. You know, just be fair with me. You know, don't beat me up and without letting me know where you're at. You know, don't go on Facebook and dog me out and then, you know, say, hey, let's be friends, you know, but well, you just, you know, murder me on Facebook and without any facts, without any knowledge. You've done those things. But hey, look, I'm a Christian. I'm forgiving. Come on in. Let's talk about it. And I'll be glad to move forward with it.
Yeah. Has your thought process changed in the last 2 years to 10 years as mayor?
Has my thought process changed?
Joe, or the way that you do things?
Joe, I try to look big picture stuff.
Sure.
You know, I'm talking about who I realize my strengths and my weaknesses. Detailed things, you know, I can do those things. I don't like to. I usually think big picture stuff that I really enjoy. And that's why I appreciate staff and all, because they handle these day-to-day things that if I had to do, I don't know if I could do it or not, and try to keep a mind on everything and time and on everything that's going on in our town. And also, I'm around town a lot. I think that's important. I drive a lot around town. You know, when I drive around, I tell people, you know, when I see our workers, I said during the week, if I go through town and I see trash, I'm not going to pick it up because we have enough trucks on this road and highway. I expect some of our guys to stop and get it. Now on the weekend, I'll stop and get it.
Right.
But on the weekday, when we got all these Vidalia employees and trucks and vehicles all up and down these streets,
right,
I don't want to see no trash. And they're very good about getting picked up. Hey, but I appreciate it. I really do. I want the A team. You know, and we pay way more as a municipality or political subdivision in the state of Louisiana than anybody else. When you pull up, I can get that book from the LMA. They got salaries all over the state, and we set the bar way above what people get paid around the state.
Awesome. Got any closing remarks?
Well, thank you. I mean, Joe, you're with the Concordia Sentinel, and I've got to say that, you know, with you covering the town and our everything we've done, I appreciate your true journalism. I appreciate that. I don't think you've ever written an article to try to get clicks, you know, or get, hey, I'm gonna buy that, you know, I think, so that's something that I think that I want to say. I appreciate you and anybody else locally that writes or does something with Vidalia. Just call me up. I'll be glad to go over the nuts and bolts with you. I'll give you the details, and I'll be honest with you. Whether you agree with me or not, that'll be up for the public opinion to say. But again, how I want to be remembered is somebody that was fair, that truly was transparent, whether somebody tell you different or not. And I do care about Vidalia, and I care about our people that work for us. I really do. I want them to enjoy. I love to hear laughter in these halls. I love that. I mean, I've always been that kind of person that I love to hear laughter. I love to. One of my favorite things back when Watson was alive, they lived behind me.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And those kids, they would have kids come over and play with Watson in the backyard, and I'd sit out in the evening and listen to those kids play and scream and holler. And it was some of the best moments just sitting out in that backyard, hearing those kids play in that backyard, and then there's kids driving up down my street, bicycles playing. And I'm going like, this is it. This is what I want to see in Vidalia. Kids and families growing, loving life, enjoying themselves. And look, anybody try to take that away, I'll fight tooth and nail for it. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I will say. If I believed in it, I'd fight for it. And I always will.
Good deal. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your transparency. And thank you, Ms. Lee, for allowing us to cover the news.
God bless you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.